What's up guys, what is up and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about a game that was shown off at E3 and personally one of my more anticipated for. It's easily top 3 out of a bunch of the games going on. And at E3 they finally showed off some gameplay and I definitely want to weigh in on this because I feel like I got some things to weigh in on. So the gameplay guys are seeing in the background is just going to be, if the video gets long enough, a loop. If not, just the first one, but it is the trailer and also the gameplay that they were showing off during the press conference. Just gonna have that going on in the background and maybe you'll see what I'm talking about there, but if not, no worries. So what is Sea of Thieves? It is an open world pirate game and that is kind of the general thing, and not a lot was known up until E3 where they did begin to announce some more stuff and actually finally show gameplay. Now from the gameplay, it looks a lot like Blackwake with the ship combat, and if you guys don't know what Blackwake is, you can actually check it out here. I'll leave an annotation or something on the screen so you can kind of look at that gameplay, and in the meantime, you can actually watch Blackwake and even potentially buy into it. But it is quite like that with the ship combat, with the cannons having to shoot at other ships. The thing is with Sea of Thieves, you can actually move the cannons around, and in the demo, they were semi-automatic, but that was just for gameplay reasons, because they didn't have a reload animation yet. Apparently Rare were saying that they are going to have like a reload time in between. And also on the ship there are a bunch of different roles, like you have to repair the hull when it gets damaged by ships, you have to dump out the water. In Sea of Thieves you actually have to dump out the water with buckets, whereas on Blackwake you just kind of activate the pump in the middle. So a lot of similar things like that. Each one also has a captain that pilots the ship, that type of stuff. So if you do kind of want to get a taste for pirate gameplay that might be like Sea of Thieves, I'm not going to guarantee it's exactly the same, but that might be the same, check out Blackwake and that'll give you a good little taste of the gameplay. I think that's the best way of putting it, but there is more to it than that. So this is just kind of some notes I took from all the people that were talking about Sea of Thieves, and I'm going to do my best to kind of summarize it and let you guys know what went on. So teamwork is going to be very essential to pilots because the captain, when he's steering, if the sails are down, he's not going to be able to see in front of himself, at least on the bigger ships. I'll talk about ships a little bit later. And another cool thing is that wind actually affects the sails. I think that's what someone was saying after they were done playing, is that the wind was affecting their steering, is that's going to be something that you have to be aware of. Another cool thing is that apparently you will be able to board other ships, as probably expected, but you can swing a rope to board someone else's ship. That's something that happened during someone's gameplay, not gameplay, but when they're just playing on the E3 show floor. They saw someone swing on a rope on board and then like no one really noticed, and then that guy was just able to like sabotage the ship and do that stuff. So that's gonna be really cool. You could potentially straggle onto an enemy ship, cause some havoc without them even knowing. Now, as you guys might know, there's PvP on the water and the seas because of ships shooting each other, but there's also going to be PvE and not just players. So they did mention specifically that there is going to be like a kraken that you can fight, and also in the trailer here, you could actually see sharks down below. So those are going to be there's going to be some life in the sea, and potentially it could be hostile. Now, it's not a quote-unquote true open-world game. It's kind of like, the comparisons I heard was the Division Dark Zone, where there's not like everyone is in the same game, but there's like a group of people that are like, it's like instance-based open world kind of, where there's a group of people inside of there, and then like if you want to play with friends, you'll invite them to your game, and it's kind of like Division in that regard. From what they were saying, there will be a beta, and the way they worded it, it's going to be much earlier than release, and I think I heard that it's supposed to release in early 2017, potentially February. So using that logic, there is potential for a 2016 beta, and that's going to be definitely something awesome later this year. I was talking about how the gameplay is kind of like Blackwake earlier. It is a lot more than that though. So there's going to be stuff like quests, a story, looting, all that stuff, and that, at least in its current form, is not in Blackwake. Because Blackwake, it's just flat out arena, 1v1 and with ships, that type of stuff. But this, it's going to be more. It's going to be open world. You're going to have quests that you can do. There's going to be a story associated with it. You're going to be able to capture loot and actually upgrade your ships and mess around with those a little bit. They are going to include a secondary chat system kind of. So since it's going to be on consoles and they want quick communications, and maybe everyone won't have a mic, they'll have quick commands assigned to certain orders or sayings, so kind of think Rocket League with good job, nice shot, those type of things that you do on the D-pad. There's going to be an anchor, and you could probably see that there, how the crew is able to raise the anchor. The more crew that is doing it, the faster it's able to go up and down. And the cool thing is, from what someone was saying, is that it can be used while sailing for a quick turn. So if you drop your anchor, your ship will keep going, and then it'll like keep its momentum and kind of swing around for a quick turn. So it could lead to some cool strategery out on the seas. There's also going to be a variety of ships in game, and those are going to range from single-man ships, so potentially something like a gunboat, that's not confirmed, but something like a gunboat, to what we've seen, and potentially even bigger, like maybe like a man-of-war, because those things were epic back in the pirate days. Man-of-wars, those could destroy people, but I don't know if a pirate would exactly have access to that. But still, you never know. Maybe there'll be like a mission to steal it or something. And a bigger crews will inherently be at an advantage. They're not dumbing down the game, so like single players or like people on a single ship are going to be as good as people on multiple ships. It's just bigger crews will be at an advantage. And they have confirmed 1 to 2 player ships. You have the 5-player ship being shown off, and when I say the number of players, those are just arbitrary numbers from what they've said. That's just the recommended amount, at least from what I've heard. This may or may not be true. They might change it too, because this is still, what, a year, maybe even more away from release. But they are just arbitrary and kind of recommended numbers. You could have less, might be a bit strugglesome trying to work the ship. You could have more extra passengers helping out, just chilling, that type of stuff. And when you're not busy killing other pirates, stealing their loot, and God knows what else on the islands, you will be able to drink and play music at taverns when you have free time. So go ahead, get drunk. You can actually see some drunk gameplay in this kind of trailer thing. And probably don't want to be drunk when you got a big fight coming up, but who knows? Could make for an interesting challenge. But yeah, it's going to be a cool way to kind of mess around and also potentially make some new drinking buddies and maybe make some friends. There are going to be a lot of roles on the ship. So some of the roles that you can see throughout the gameplay and that were available in this build is steering, aka piloting. Navigation would be a good role because the pilot can't exactly see with the sails down, so you'd have someone maybe up on the crow's nest letting them know where to go, that type of stuff. Working the cannons, the crow's nest like I mentioned, working the anchor, plugging the holes to make sure that the ship doesn't sink. You can also use buckets to get the water out of the ship, and that's another role that you could do. And this isn't exactly a role, but there is a pretty dope captain's quarters from what I have seen, which is awesome. I want to be a captain. I want that captain quarters. I hope it's customizable so I could have the dopest in the world, because yeah. Anyways, ships can also sink, and the thing here is, I almost said if you ship a sink, if you sink a ship, it has the potential, this is like kind of me brainstorming here, it might spill treasure if there's treasure on board the ship, which then has to be retrieved by you guys if you have a crew or something. And then that's kind of in the earlier portion of the trailer, you can see sharks kind of in like that stop motion type area. You can see sharks in the water along with a couple pirates. So maybe they were going after a sunken ship, retrieving it, and then sharks are a potential danger from that. Rare did also confirm that blunderbusses, those are a confirmed land weapon. They were turned off in this build. They wanted people to focus on the actual ship gameplay. I mentioned the buckets. Ships will be upgradable, both look-wise and combat-wise, so you can make them better functionally, or you can make them just look cooler, but ships will be upgradable, and I'm guessing you will also be able to upgrade a ship in terms of getting rid of your old ship, maybe giving it to a friend and just finding, like stealing a new one, something like that. That's me brainstorming. That's not confirmed or anything. The really awesome part is, if you guys know The Division, if you ever played in the Dark Zone, you would know that people team up in the Dark Zone, and they have like huge, like 8-man, 12-man squads, that type of stuff. Well, in Sea of Thieves, it's more badass because there's the potential for just fleets of ships. So let's say you got 8 players or something, maybe like 10 players, right? Imagine rolling in with like 2 5-man ships, or like if you have 15 players, 3 5-man ships, and just rolling up on people, absolutely controlling the seas and being a force to be reckoned with. Or let's say you got like 10 people going in with like 5 gunboats, 5 little gunboats, maybe even more if you can man them by yourself, and causing havoc and just really making it hard for ships to, I don't know, take you on. And that's really freaking cool. And that's the type of interaction I cannot wait for. I just love that when people come together and like these organic scenarios come together. Those are, in my opinion, absolutely awesome. But that is something kind of potential I did want to talk about. And then it does seem that there are going to be towns and ports in the game, because you can see that there are the taverns are going to be drinking and doing stuff. You're going to have to dock the ship somewhere. So it does make sense that there will be ports and towns, because I think during one of the gameplays there was also a kind of rather big room where people were drinking. So that could have been a building in a town or something like that. So that'd be awesome, especially because I just want the world to feel alive, and having like a town where you and your friends could just go would be awesome. But that about does it information wise. Hopefully I summed it up. Hopefully I didn't take too long. It's like what, like a 10-11 minute video here. So in the meantime, I'm definitely gonna be covering Sea of Thieves. I've been excited for this game since the last E3. It's been absolutely on my radar. And I'm gonna be covering this. If you guys want to check out Blackwake, like I said, I'm probably doing more Blackwake videos because that game's really fun. So I can only imagine how awesome Sea of Thieves will be. And yeah, that's about all I can say. So if you guys are interested in any of that and you have stumbled upon this video and you stuck around through all of it, recommend you subscribe so you know when all that goes on. And other than that, that is going to go ahead and do it for me. So thank you guys so much for watching the video as always, and hopefully see you next one.